One of the best ways to learn Python and to learn to code is by building projects. So in this video, we're going to build not one, but 3 different Python coding projects. So these are the videos I wish I had when I was learning to code. We're going to code every single line together, and we're going to go over and use core concepts like imports and lists and reading data. So yeah, y'all, let's just get into it. In this tutorial, we're going to be building a Halloween game in Python. By the way, I just wanted to say that the themes of these games are like Halloween and Christmas, but the themes do not matter at all. What matters is we cover core coding concepts. Just wanted to put that out there. This is how the game works. Just like Halloween, you can knock on people's doors, but you don't know if you're going to get a trick or a treat. A trick is something like a ghost scaring you or maybe a pumpkin coming at you, but a treat is something like chocolate or candy. So let's code it. So we are currently on RepleIt.com, and that's where we're going to be coding for this tutorial. RepleIt, you get 10 free coding environments, so this is completely free. You don't need to download anything, so that's why I decided to use this website. So yes, so after you get here, after you sign in, what you can do is go to Explore More, and we can click on Developer Frameworks. And let me just move myself over here. Okay, so then we can click on Python. That's the language we're going to be coding in for this tutorial. And then we can click Remix. So we can call this Halloween Python game. You can change the description if you want. So you can be something like a trick or treat simulation. So let's use framework. And it's going to load. Okay, great. What I'm going to do is close this over here, and we can go to Tools and Files. And then what we can do is actually look up main.py. That's where we're going to code. So we're going to have all our code in this one file, and then console is where we'll see the output. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to import everything that we need. So we can import random. So we're going to use random a lot. Random is going to help us to select a random, treat from our list. It's going to help us to select a random trick from our list. We're also going to use random to help us generate a random number. And this random number will determine whether the user does, get a trick or a treat. But more on that later. So yes, random is great. Then we're also going to import time. And time is just used more for dramatic effect. So basically, after you knock on a door, we're going to have our game pause for a little bit, just so you don't know if you're getting a trick or a treat. It's like dramatic effect. So yes, import random, import time. The next thing we're going to do is let's actually create our list. So we're going to have treats is equals to this bracket, and then we're going to have tricks is equal to this bracket. So basically, this is how we create a list in Python. And now we can actually add items to our list. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the quotation marks. And inside, you can actually add we can add words. So this is basically a string. And let me show you how this works. So for example, we can add a lollipop emoji and say lollipop. And this is one item in our list. So then let's add more items or strings to our list. So we can do something like, we could do a cookie. That's not really like Halloween, but let's just, fill this up with stuff. Let's do a donut. We can also add, candy. And you do not have to do emojis at all. I'll also write the text for people who don't want to do emojis. And then let's also do like chocolate. Yeah, that's good. So then this is a cookie. This is a donut. This is candy, and this is chocolate. Okay, now let's add to our tricks list. So what we can do is, what's Halloween like? Yeah, let's do a ghost. What we can also do, I like an alien. We can have something that's like, yeah, robot. Robots taking over the world. That's kind of scary. Let's do a pumpkin. I like that, very Halloween. And then we can do a clown. So the clown, we can say something like peekaboo. That would be scary. Open a door and a clown says peekaboo. This could be like lights out. We can have the robot say beep boo. Alien says random stuff. you know, because you can't understand an alien. And then we'll have the ghosts do a classic boo. Okay, so now we have our list of treats and we have our list of tricks. Now let's welcome players to our game. So we can use print to help us display a message on the screen, and we can say, "Welcome to Halloween," and then "trick or treat," dot, dot, dot for mystery. And let's also add some pumpkins, make it very Halloween-like. Okay, so now let's create our game loop. So what I mean by game loop is users can knock on as many doors as they like. And when I say users, I mean like users, players, interchangeably. So yeah, let's have while true because we just want this to keep looping on and on as much as the player wants to play. So what we can do is actually get input from the user. So what I mean by that is we can use input to help us, and we can tell the player, press enter to knock on a door. So this is like simulating knocking on a door in our game. And then after they knock, it's going to be the pause. That's why we imported time. So we're going to like pause. So we can use time.sleep. And let's just wait for half a second, just so like the user doesn't know like what they're going to get. And what we can also do is I do want to keep track of how much treats they get so far. So what we can do is do something like total treats. And that's going to start off at 0 at the beginning of our game because, you know, we don't have any candy yet. So now we're going to get into really like the heart of our logic. So there's going to be two different situations if you get a treat or if you get a trick. So what we can do is let's kind of write that if else out, you know, just get that logic starting to like set up. So what we can have is maybe you have a 70% chance of getting a treat and a 30% chance of getting a trick. So what we can do is use random to help us select that random number. So let's say if random.random, if that's less than 0.7, then basically if it's less than 0.7, you get a treat. Else, you know, you're going to get that trick. Okay, so yay, you get a treat. What we can do is increase total treats by 1 plus equals 1. What we can also do is now select a random treat from our list. So we can say treat is equal to random dot choice, and we can select something from treats. And now let's show the player what treat they got. So we could do something like print, yay, you got a treat. So basically, I'm using this braces because I actually want to grab the value that's in, you know, in treat. So what we can do is actually use F before the string, and that's going to help us to like, you know, not write bracket, treat, bracket. Like we don't want that to appear on the screen. We want the actual treat to appear on the screen. So that's why we're going to use this kind of like, you know, that's why we're going to write it out like this. So we can say, yay, you got a treat. And then we could do something like total treats, and we can just like use this, and that will show us our total treats. So now else, that means unfortunately they get a trick. So what we can do is print, and on the screen we can do something like we can also use F to help us format this, and let's just do random dot choice. So we used random dot choice earlier, but this time it's going to be for a trick. So let's pass in tricks. Okay, y'all, let's run our code and see what's going on. So we run it up here. We go to console. So welcome to Halloween, trick or treat. Press enter to knock on a door. Enter, a little pause. You saw that pause? Yay, you got chocolate. Total treats is 1. Now we can knock on another door. So return, it's return on my laptop. Okay, beep boo. Oh, we actually got a trick this time. Okay, so you can press enter and just keep going. Okay, yay, I got a lollipop. Now this is a little bit hard to read. So let's go over to main, and what we're gonna do is put like a space, like a line between each thing. So let me show you what I mean. What I can do is inside the quotes, add a /n, And then we can also add a slash n over to that input line, and then a slash n when we tell them like what treat they got, and then also a slash n, which stands for new line over here. So this will be better to read. And I wonder if we should be something like oh no, and then, whatever that is. Okay, let's see if I like that. Let's pause. We're going to run our code again. We're going to go to console. Okay, now you see the spaces. I feel like that's better to read. Welcome to Halloween, trick or treat. Press enter to knock on a door. Yay, you got a candy. Total treats is 1. Press enter to knock on a door. Oh no, beep boo. Okay, let's end on a treat. Yay, okay, you got a lollipop. And the total treats, it's calculating that correctly. Let's just like knock on a whole bunch of doors. Okay, see all the different options. Going crazy, I'm getting so much candy. Okay, great. So oh, it's still going. Oh, I was just pressing in a lot. Okay, now. Oh, still going. Okay, nice. Wow, I just got 24 treats. I did Halloween right. Even though as a kid, I feel like you would have like bags of candy. Like 24, that's just from the morning. Now we just finished coding up game 1. Let's go to game 2. In just 10 minutes, you'll have your very own Thanksgiving-inspired Python game. So this is how the game will work. This is going to be a turkey chase game, where basically a turkey could be hiding in 5 different spots. And we'll label it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to make it easy. So let's say the turkey is hiding in 4. The player can guess any spot. So let's say they guess 1, incorrect. Let's say they guess 5, incorrect. And basically we'll keep track of the number of tries it takes until they guess like the correct answer. So let's say they guess 4, beautiful, confetti. Basically you win the game. So let's code it. What we're going to do first is we are going to import random. And why we need random is going to select where that turkey is. So it's going to select a random number between 1 and 5, and that's going to be where the turkey is hiding. But now let's welcome players to our game. So we can print, and that's going to display a message on the screen, and we can say Thanksgiving Turkey Chase. Now I'm going to add some emojis to this string. Basically, this is a string right here. You do not have to do that, but emojis makes my life better. So let's take our turkey. We can put a little turkey right there, turkey there, maybe some leaves. You got to set the vibe. Let's have it on both sides. Okay. So then after that, what we're going to do is let's actually select where the turkey is going to be. So we can call this turkey position. And that's going to be equal to, we can use random to help us, and then we can use random int, and we want a number between 1 and 5. And that's one of the great things about using a code editor like REPL. This is not sponsored, but they give you more information like return random integer in range A to B, including both endpoints. So it will include 1 and 5. So that's perfect for our game. And then something else we can do is we can actually kind of set up some of our game variables. So what I mean by that is we're going to keep track of the number it tries it takes before the player guesses the correct answer. So tries will be equal to 0 at the very beginning. And then also what we're going to do is keep track of what the guess is that the player makes, because we need to see if the guess is correct or not. So at the beginning, guess can be equal to 0, just at the beginning of our game. So now what we can do is let's get into the motion of the game. So what I mean by that is while their guess is not equal to turkey position, what we're going to do is our game is going to keep going. So at the beginning, our guess is going to be equal to 0, and 0 is not going to be equal to a number between 1 and 5. So we're good. We're going to go into this while loop. And what we're going to do is basically now let's actually get the guess from the user. So we're going to update guess, and guess is going to be equal to the input that the player gives us. So what we can do here is within input waits for like user input. So this is perfect. So it's going to actually collect what that like player types. So we can say something like guess a number between 1 through 5. We could use, or we could say something like, guess where the turkey is hiding. And then we could do 1 through 5 like this to kind of, help the player out to understand our game. Now, the thing about this is the type of input is going to be a string. However, we need it to be an integer. So what I mean by this is what I love in Python is you can print, let's print out guess, and let's also print out what the type of guess is. So what we can do is run our code with this play button. We can go to console. Thanksgiving turkey chase. Guess where the turkey is hiding? Okay, so let's say we guess 1. Okay, so you see I typed in the number 1 on my keyboard and it says class string. So it's saying it's a string. So if we go back to our code here, our random number is going to be an int. So we want to compare an int with an int to see if it's correct. So what we can do is we can actually convert what the player types in into an int. So now let's pause and rerun our game. Okay, so then let's say we type in the number 1, you can see it's now an int, and now we can properly compare. So we can go over here and take out these print statements. I hope you're enjoying this video so far. If you enjoyed this video, definitely give it a like and also subscribe for more coding mini games like this. So after the user makes the guess, basically the number of tries increases because, they just put out a guess. So let's increase tries by 1. And now we're going to have 2 different situations. We're going to have, if the guess is correct or if the guess is not correct. So let's start with correct. So if our guess is equal to the turkey position, we can say something like, congrats. I'll do caps. You found the turkey. And then let's use the turkey right there. And we can actually say the number of tries it took. So we can say, you found the turkey in. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to kind of like take the value that's in tries. So what I mean by that is you're going to see me use these brackets and put in tries. Now, if I left it like this is not going to be what we expect because it's actually going to print out like bracket, tries, bracket. And let me actually show you what I mean by that. So let me pause, play. Let's say we guess 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I was like, where is it? But it'll be like, okay, congrats, you found the turkey in tries. We don't want it to say tries. We actually want it to put the number. So in this case, it would be 5. So what we can do is we can use F, and F will help us to format this. And you see how tries change color into white? So basically now it's actually going to get that value. So we're going to say, congrats, you found the turkey in like the number, and then we can say tries. Okay, now let's say they did not find the turkey. We can have else. We could print something like, and my bubble's getting in the way. And let's move this print up a little bit. Ooh, not me deleting. Okay, else we can be like, oh no, the turkey isn't here. And then we just have some like leaves. Or we can say something like, oh no, the turkey gobbled away. If y'all want, we can actually make this game like more fun. What we could do is each round we can actually change the position that the turkey is in. So it's not just like, made at the beginning. So if you want to do that, you want to do a part 2, let a girl know, let's do it. I love coding these games and stuff like that. It's really fun. This is the type of videos I wish I had when I was learning to code. Just like learning to code in a chill, safe environment and, learning the basics of like print statements. We had some imports in here, variables, while loops, if else. Like these are core like coding concepts. And, it's good that we can practice this stuff. But okay, I don't know why I just ranted. Okay. Oh no, the turkey gobbled away. And then finally, what we can do is we have this print statement. Let's print Happy Thanksgiving. And what emojis do we want to use? Let's use this and the pie. Let's do the pie and the leaf. I don't think we used that leaf yet. Oh, we have. We'll just do those. Okay, so now let's actually run our code. Go over to console. And before we do this, these spaces are really close together. Let's add like a line between them. So we can use new lines. Let's slash n over here. Make sure it's within the quotes. Slash n, just to make it easier to read. Now let's run our code. Okay. So Thanksgiving turkey chase. Guess where the turkey is hiding? Let's start with 5. Oh no, the turkey gobbled away. 4. Oh no, the turkey gobbled away. I don't know why I just like malfunctioned. 3, 2. Congrats, you found the turkey in 4 tries. Happy Thanksgiving. Now we're done with game 2. One more game, y'all. Let's do it. In this video, we're going to make a Christmas-inspired Python game.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
So this is how the game will work. It's basically one of those like speed challenge games where we're going to see how fast you can wrap a present. So if you're super quick, you win. If you're slow, you lose. So yeah, let's code it. So I'm on onlinegdb.com. This is completely free. So if you want to code along with me, you can. You just need an internet connection. And then the language we're coding in is Python 3. So just make sure you select it for languages. And let's get to coding. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to import what we need for this project. So let's import random and time. So basically, random is going to help us select the random time that the present will appear on the screen. And this changes every time the player plays the game. It's going to be a different random time. And then time is going to help us to pause the game, and you'll see that in a second. And then it's also going to help us to calculate the player's reaction time. So how long it takes them to actually wrap the present. So now we can actually put the title of the game on the screen. So we can print, and then it's wrap a present Python game. And what we can do is, I love my emojis. So I actually put some emojis over here. Let's add these two. The emojis, you don't need them. You really don't need these print statements either, but I just like them. So if you actually wanted to have a family member play the game, they know how to play it. So let's actually add the instructions. So let's say we have print, and then we can actually do something like press enter as fast as you can to wrap the present. Beautiful. Okay, so now let's actually determine, the time, the random time that the present will appear on the screen. So we can use random to help us. So what we can do is use random.uniform, and we can put 1 up to 3. So what this is going to do is it's going to help us select a random decimal number between 1 and 3. So it might be 2.5876, whatever. And that is the time in seconds that, the present will appear on the screen. So now that we have the time, let's actually I don't know why I did a punch. Let's actually enforce it. So what I mean by that is we can use time.sleep, and let's pass in that random time. Okay, so it might be, maybe it's at 1.555. We're going to basically pause our program, sleep our program until, that random number. So that's great. And so then after that, what we do is, we have paused it. We can actually put the present on the screen because we have waited that random amount of time. So we can do something like print. We could do something like wrap present now. If you want, this can be all text. You can actually write out present if you don't want the emoji. Okay, so wrap present now. So now the present has appeared. Now we have to calculate this time to see how long it's going to take them to actually wrap it. So let's get the starting time. Start is equal to, we use time.time for this. So that will get get us the start time. And then what we can do is after we're like starting the clock, we can wait for the user to give us input. So we'll use input to help us. And by that, depending on what kind of computer you have, you press return or you press enter, and that is you wrapping the present. After they have wrapped the present, we can get the end time. And we can also use time.time again. That gets us, like that current time. So we have that. Now we can actually calculate what their reaction time was. So let's call it reaction. And that could be equal to, it's going to be our end time minus our start time because the end time will be the bigger number. Yes, so we have the reaction time. So now based on that time, we can determine if they won or if they lost. So what we can do is use an if statement to help us do that. So it will be something like if reaction is less than a certain number, what we're going to do is print you win, else, you weren't quick, print you lost. So now we actually have to print out what that certain number is. So I was playing around with it a little bit and I thought 0.6 was a good number. So you can definitely change this number if you want, but I thought for me that was like challenging, that it was still fun. So yeah, so if your reaction is less than 0.6 seconds, then you're quick, you win. We can say something like you wrapped the present in blank seconds. So we can actually use F to help us format this string. So this is a string right here. You can see with the quotation marks, but I also want to use this like reaction variable. So what I can do is actually use these, brackets, and inside I can put reaction. So I can actually like get that value. So yeah, okay, you win. You wrap the present in reaction seconds. And then we can actually do something similar for if you lost. We can still tell you how many seconds you took. So we can see if you're like close or not close to winning. But yes, we have to remember to put F to format it so we can actually get that value. Perfect. And then the emojis. I had some Christmas emojis I wanted to use. So basically, if you lost, you get a plain tree. But if you win, you get a decorated tree. And you also get your present. Okay, let's try out this game, see what we're working with. So let's run our code. I think it comes down here. Okay, wrap a present, game wrap. You lost, you wrap the present in 3.7. Okay, so what we can do is, that's actually like really long. And I don't think we need it to be that long. So we can use round in Python. And let's round it maybe to like 2 places. So we can just copy and paste this. And, we could have, a variable that stores this because like we're repeating the same line twice, but for this video, it's totally fine. We can do a cleanup video if y'all want, but okay. Let me focus this time so, I can wrap this right. It actually like feels a little too zoomed in. So y'all can still see all the code. Okay, perfect. So let's run our code again. Press enter as fast as you can to wrap the present. We love it. You lost. You have the present 0.92 seconds. Okay, next one I'm winning. Let's run. Focus, Maya. Boom. Hey, you win. You wrap the present 0.51 seconds. Okay, y'all, so this is our Christmas wrapping game. I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. You have now coded all 3 games. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely subscribe for more Python coding tutorials.